This episode of the podcast contains topics of religion, divorce, and the death penalty. Please be advised. I don't love the now recording. It's way too AI for me. This is Waiting for Seconds, the interview podcast where we meet people and ask them who they are and why they are. I'm Shannon Miller, and I'm here with my co-host Malcolm Out Kelt. I said it correct this
You've
time.
done this like so many times.
And today we will be talking with Benjamin Hoffman. Go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Hoffman. I'm from the beautiful state of Washington. I am currently a nursing major. I'm about to graduate in December, and I have two naughty cats.
You have two naughty cats?
They are cats through and through.
Table pushers and the whatnot.
The one likes to fight and will always bite and has no love in his soul. And the other one is the most adorable, cuddly little cat. But she will ruin your day in the worst kind of way sometimes.
That's fair.
Truly. Little babies.
Yeah. I love them though.
So I met Ben back at Auburn. We went to school together for my 3 years that I was there. And I love him. He's a good dude. I didn't really get to know him until probably my senior year. But I knew his fiance, or his now fiance. And then when they got together, just kind of got to know Ben a little bit more. And over this past year, we've kind of connected back and forth. We played a little bit of D&D where I was the DM. And then I think back in June or something, I came out and visited you. We had really good pho and cider.
Oh, dude, yes. Very good. It was so good. Come again. Malcolm, you can come also.
Hey, I'd love to. I love Washington, man. That is a beautiful state.
It is. It's the best state.
I might have to fight you on that one.
Aesthetically speaking, it is the best state.
You know, it's a good state.
It's a good state, but only like the western half of it or western third of it.
Yeah.
The other 2/3 is just desert.
I don't know. Desert can look good.
No, not this one.
Not that one. You know what? Fair.
You know, it is nice though, because Eastern Washington does look better than most of the Midwest, especially Nebraska.
I believe it. I fully believe it. I've never been to Nebraska, but
it's not like people always say Nebraska's like flat, which it is. But you don't get it because when you drive through Nebraska, you go up hills, like small hills, right? While driving. But like when you look across the field, and let's say you're driving on top of the hill, you are the hill. So like everything still looks flat because you are on the hill. There's no other hills. You know what I mean?
It's all just kind of flat and boring, even if it's not.
Yeah, even if you're going up and down hills, it still looks like you're on a flat plane. It doesn't matter.
I think I would just have to like see it for myself because you, Malcolm, and I are all from a mountainous state.
We are.
Yeah. I was about to say not Malcolm, but yes, you are because you're in Colorado.
Colorado is very mountainous. We got the Rockies.
You are like 4,000 feet where you're at.
Oh, Colorado is flat everywhere else, though.
Yeah, we're kind of... Well, there's not much else, I would argue. Most of the east side of Colorado is mountains.
Yeah.
Ah,
Also, I hate your airport. Denver Airport is the worst airport.
it is the worst. Can't
Really?
confirm.
It can
What
burn.
the fuck?
I
I
It's a
hate that
great
airport.
airport.
I hate
No.
Seattle's airport, but I hate Denver's airport more.
Denver's airport is the worst.
Yeah, it is great.
I'm gonna be a Denver airport hater.
Yeah,
I
you're wrong.
no. You
I
need
mean,
to
do
it's
fly
have-
a
more.
it's a big airport. It's nice.
You do
No.
have the horse though, the
We
demon
do
horse.
have the horse, the creature, the beast.
Denver
What's the actual
Airport
goal?
is just one straight line that never ends.
Jeez.
It's the worst thing. Mm-mm.
Well-
Lucifer. We have Lucifer.
Is that what his name is?
Uh-huh.
The creature of the night?
Lucifer. And it's not even a straight line. It's a big square kind of area.
Well,
Don't
now
care,
that
I
we're
hate it.
talking about like airports and cities and stuff, how do you feel about traveling? You a big travel
Me?
guy? Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I am not really. Most of my traveling has been from Nebraska State to Washington State, going back and forth for like 3 times a year. I've done some traveling where I've gone to the Philippines, I've been in Canada, I've gone to New York and Florida and California, but not really the biggest travel person.
I'm
Like-
gonna ask, are those places because of like school related activities, or was it just something you're doing on your own?
Those were all school related activities, actually. Every single one of them. Except for California, where I went to California to visit family who are all crazy.
Ooh. They're still family though.
They are.
Um,
But no, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest traveler and probably won't really ever be, at least for myself. I'll probably never travel solely for myself, like alone for myself in a sense.
Sure. No, that makes sense. You would go with people or visit friends. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. 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 I'd say, well, to be honest, my upcoming trip is to Greece. That's going to be with my fiance for our honeymoon. We're going to take a cruise in Greece, which is going to be very exciting because for me, it will be not my first trip for besides the school event, but um, it'll be fun. And I'm excited for the aspect of or I'm excited to travel with her. I just love traveling with my fiance. It makes everything so nice.
It makes it easier when you could do it with the person you love most.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think you're the first person we've had on who's really not a big travel person. Since we've
Yeah, never been one. My family has never had the means to really travel,
Mm.
so
Oh,
never
gotcha.
grew up with like traveling all that much. I'd
And
say the
you just never had the desire either to really travel.
I'd say like in high school I had the desire to travel, but um now I'm like my so there's always a desire to travel, right? It's always fun seeing new places. But now at the top of my priority list is like getting married, getting a nice paying job, starting a family, So those are the priorities I'm more excited about than
Yeah.
traveling, you know?
Yeah. Setting up
So
a stable, comfortable life is more important than
yeah,
going
more
and
important.
doing shit elsewhere.
Yeah, more important, more exciting. Like that's just where I am right now. But
It's a very
yeah.
reasonable want.
I mean, it's good that you're like set on your goals and you're just slowly getting or succeeding in your goals.
No, it's exciting. It's I'm almost there. Once I'm done with school, that's when the that's when we're gonna start getting stuff done, like getting married. for me getting married to my lovely fiance.
Mm.
You mentioned flying out to see your family. How close is your family? Are you, I mean, clearly you're in other states, so physically not that close.
Yeah, I'd say me and my immediate family, so my two brothers and my mom and dad, are very close. I'd say closer than some families that I've, seen, um, you know, interacted with. I'd say my family is very close in, yeah, in regards.
Interesting. Do you think that's just because, I mean, you mentioned you didn't have the means to fly a lot. I know a lot of people who grew up poor get especially close to their family.
Yeah, I'd say, we were never like too poor. I think we
Mhm.
were there at one point, but I was very young. I was too young to
Oh, yeah.
comprehend
Mm.
what was going on. To me, I always just thought this is just how everybody lives.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like we were close to be on the streets, but yeah, we grew close. I'd say like a big part of what kept us to or brought us closer was um, it was close proximity, but also um, both my mom and my dad um, did try to be there for me and Samuel, at least early on,
Mm.
you know. Um, and it does help that both my parents are still together, you know, married and stuff. I'd say that's a big part of it.
Hmm.
Just having like that a good not a good balance, but in my experience, usually families that stay together are like, let's say the mom and dad stay together, right?
Hmm.
The family has a better balance. So being able to work through differences and stuff only brings the family closer and stuff.
I
So
think that
all,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah. So all around, you would say you've had a really good childhood.
Yeah,
Partly because your parents stayed together and your family was all super close.
yeah, I'd say I definitely have had a better childhood than most in that regard. And I'm very thankful that I'm also close to both both my brothers,
Mm.
Hmm.
which funny story. Me and my little brother, right? We hated each other, and we always fight, right?
Hmm.
Because that's just what brothers do. And
Can confirm.
can confirm. And we were begging my dad to put me and my little brother into different rooms, right? We were just begging, and my
Uh-huh.
dad, you know, sometimes he didn't have the best ideas, but this one time, call it divine intervention or something. But he had the bright idea of like, nope, you guys won't get separate rooms until you guys learn to love each other. And I count this as probably the number one reason why me and my little brother have such a good relationship because it forced us to, you know, learn to love each other, but also just learn to live with each other. There was no escape from him, which forced us like, well, we can't fight all the time, so why don't we just try to be nice to each other for once?
Sure. That's definitely not a method I've heard of.
I
You
haven't heard it either, to be honest with you, but um, I say it's the number one reason me and my little brother worked out the way we have.
I think that makes a lot of sense, honestly. Like, people, at least, so for language, people have said to me in the past that in wanting to learn a new language, one of the best ways to do it is just to fully immerse yourself in that language. And say you're trying to learn Spanish, just start speaking Spanish and living around people who only speak Spanish, and you will figure it out quicker. If you want to become close to someone, just always be close to them.
Just live with them.
Just live
Yeah.
with them, and you're gonna have to. Otherwise, life's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it also helped that, like, or it didn't help, but like, my little brother, he's my blood family, right?
Yeah.
So I cannot escape my blood family, no matter how much I try. Um, that they will always be, um, they will always be a part of me, and I will always be a part of them. You can't escape your own blood, right?
Hmm.
So if I can't escape Samuel, or my little brother, if I can't escape my little brother, right?
Yeah.
um, then there's really no harm, I'd say, in keeping us in the same room because I can't escape him one way or another,
Mhm.
right? So might as well, like Malcolm was saying, you know, might as well just engross yourself in in just being around him and learning him because that's kind of what happened was I figured out my little brother. I figured out what makes him tick, what keeps him like how to avoid fighting him in a sense or how to avoid taking him off. So, you know, might as well engross myself in learning how to deal with my little brother, which worked out in it because now me and my little brother have a wonderful relationship. We're two best friends in a sense, and he's my best man to my wedding.
Mhm.
And I feel very blessed to be so close to him because I've interacted with people who do not have good sibling relationships, and it breaks my heart because one of my best relationships is with my little brother.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's really cool. I'm really glad that you have that awesome relationship with your brother. That's something not every brother can say.
Yeah, I feel lucky too.
You were talking about you can't escape your blood family. I'd like you to go into that a little bit more for me because most of the people we've had on the podcast have said like family is more than blood, but
Oh,
I kind
okay.
of want to get your opinion on that. Is
Yes.
it more than blood, or is it like for you it's just your brother or your whole family is like your best friend?
All right. So, in my personal opinion, you have two families, right? One is your blood family. These are the people, this is like your immediate family. I'm not talking about your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, right? Those are
Sure.
your parents. Those are your parents' blood family, right? And you can easily escape your grandparents or your aunts and uncles because they really have no sway over your life in a sense, right? But
Yeah.
like your brothers, your sisters, your mom and dad, right? They are a part of you in a sense. They're your blood family. And you can't really escape who you are. Like that's your own blood in them, right? Or their blood's in you in a sense. If you get like a little bit like A and P and stuff, you can't escape them. They're always going to be a part of you. Now, whether you decide to interact with them, be a part of their lives, or have them be a part of your lives, that's totally like optional. You can like leave them completely and not
Mhm.
have them be part of your life or be part of their lives, but they'll always be like they're always connected to you in a sense. They're always they're always going to be a part of you, some form of you or some part of you, right? But the second family is the family you choose, which oftentimes is the more important family, or is the most important family, because these are individuals you choose to be part of your life, right? So this is your choice, right? You
Mhm.
choose whether they stay or not. And something's beautiful about it is because when you marry someone, right, you're choosing to start a new family with them. You're you're completely you're not completely leaving because as I said before, your blood family is always going to be a part of you in some type of way, you know. But
Yeah.
you yourself are starting your own family. You are becoming, you know, a head of a household in a sense, or you both are becoming heads of household. So, and then around that, you choose individuals that are a part of your family, in a sense, which is more powerful, I feel, because then you're making the conscious decision to love them, regardless of your faults. Because with your blood family, you can love them, right? But you have really no choice whether they're there or not. Like, they're always going to be a part of you in a sense. So, like, yeah, that's my personal thought. And then I also have a quote for you guys. So you guys know the term, like the quote, "Blood is thicker than water."
Yeah.
Right. So the actual quote is, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb," which I agree with. Right. Is that the blood of the covenant, i.e., those you choose to make a covenant with, or those you choose to be part of your family, right? That is thicker than the water of the womb, or your actual, not your actual family, but your blood family in a
Your
sense,
birth family.
your
Yeah.
birth family, right? The covenant that you make with your friends or your significant other is thicker than the water of the womb, or your birth family in a sense. So I believe there's two families. If you have questions, please ask.
There's two families: your birth family, your womb, and your covenant.
Yeah.
That's cool. Uh, I wonder, do you think that quote applies similarly to the concept of nature or nurture?
Um.
Which is to say, do you think that nature is less thick, your womb is less thick than your blood of the covenant, which is the people you choose and the people you immerse yourself in?
I personally believe nature and nurture are just two sides of the same coin, in a sense. I should say they're holding hands, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody's born with a nature, right? But and that really dictates a lot of like who your core self is, in a sense.
Mm.
But your nurture really affects on who you become as a person. Um, so like your nature are your tendencies, your, like, let's say your personality, in a sense. That is your nature. Your nurture is what makes you into a person. So if you take two individuals and put them in two different situations, right? And let's say let's actually say they're the same person through and through, same nature, right? But you put them in two, or same nature, but you put them in two different places, like two different environments where their nurture is different, then they're going to be different people in a sense.
Uh-huh.
They're going to still have the same tendencies in a sense, right? But their ethics, their morals, the thing that makes them, in a sense, or like the big defining features are going to be different because of their nature, or their nurture. I mean,
They might be physically unidentifiable, but once you start talking to them, once you start understanding them, they're clearly
yeah,
different.
they're going to be clearly different, because you can have, let's say, you have the same person who is a non-violent person, right? Like that is their nature. They do
Mhm.
not like to fight at all, right? But you put one in an environment where fighting is, they don't need a fight, and you put one in a situation where fighting is needed, right? The one where fighting is needed, that person is still not going to like what he does, but he's going to fight, because that's what he needs to do to survive. That's his nature that he's in, or that's the nurture he's in, right?
Uh,
But the
is
guy who does,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, but the guy who is nurtured in a non-violent environment, he's gonna appall fighting. He's just gonna detest it. He can't stomach it. in a sense. And these are like two very big extremes, but that's kind of like the
Mhm.
point I'm trying to get across is nature and nurture are holding hands in a sense. They're very close, but you must figure out how to differentiate them, or you'll get confused and think. Then you'll think like this person is an awful person, and you won't regard maybe his nurture was different than mine. Maybe he has similar. Maybe he feels the same way about me about certain things, but maybe his upbringing has taught him a different way. You know, so you
Yeah,
got to distinguish the two.
like you were saying, they're two sides of the same coin, and you can't have one without the other.
Yes, exactly.
So, I'd love to ask you. The word nature comes up in a lot of different ways, a lot of like philosophical understanding, and also like a nature versus nurture, and also like a, I don't know, creationist evolutionist kind of concept. I want to ask you if you believe that, do you believe in a human nature, an overarching human nature, or do you think every individual has their own specific nature?
Um, I'll say this. I think it's just um, I'm more of an optimist, right? This is my
Okay.
nature. Is I am an optimist. So obviously, um, that's affecting me in my opinion here. But I do believe that everybody has a good nature in some capacity. Like everybody underlying has a good nature, but the nurture can change that. So a person can think they're doing the right thing, even though they're committing atrocities, because the nature of their background. So that's what I mean. Like, I think everybody's born good and they desire to do good, right? But, their nurture will define what good is for them. They can totally have based on their nature, they could have they can think good is, working at the food bank, giving food to the homeless, right? That's nature defining their what's good to them, right? Or their nature can make them be a narcissistic person where the only good in the world is them and they must do good by them. You know, that's their nurture influencing their nature.
Hmm.
I think that makes a lot of sense. That like
Yeah.
ultimately people are good and are trying to do what they consider to be good, but that good is different because they were raised differently and their worlds are from different perspectives.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm going for here.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Hmm. You just got me thinking, Ben.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. Right?
I
That's why I'm
mean
on here.
that's the general goal of interviewing people is to maybe share similar thoughts.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about, Shannon? Like what has sparked the like your engine to start turning?
I'm I'm still thinking about like the two sides of the same coin with um with maybe humanity, because hmm it's just the upbringing that society has been placed. It, like you were saying earlier, the people in a non-violent situation, and they'll turn out non-violent if they even liked fighting. And then there's the opposite, where it's the person who doesn't like fighting and they have to fight because they're in that environment. And so with people being inherently good or inherently evil, it all depends on the result. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Which, you bring up a good point, which is the reason why I believe everybody's good, right? Because if everybody was inherently evil, right, if their nature was evil, then no true good things would happen. Because there's no way, and I guess you could say, well, they're doing it for like salvation. They think they're going to get salvation out of it, right? If they do these good things. That facade only lasts for so long. Eventually, they will burn out, right? No one can keep up a good facade for 80, 90, 100 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I have to believe, me personally, I have to believe that everybody's inherently good, but their nurture is what changes them.
It's the environment or the people around them, not necessarily the people that are family, but just people.
Exactly. Their environment. What are they being surrounded by?
So this might be kind of a impossible question to answer, but I want to pick your brain anyway. What do you think makes humans innately good?
I don't so um me personally, I am a Christian, right?
Mm.
I am Seventh-day Adventist. So obviously, my belief is that there is a divine, intelligent creator, right, who has made everything. Right. So I believe that it is, and in the Bible it says we were made in his image, right? So I believe that we are inherently good because of him. Um, it is him who makes us good, right? We're not he made us good.
He
Let me
made us
phrase.
like him good,
He
but
Yes, he made us like him good, but due to our environment, we sin, we make mistakes, we do terrible things, you
Yeah.
know, you know. So that is what I believe on the topic of like what makes us good. I believe it's God. I believe we were made in his image. We were made we are good because we are made by him, from him, in his image.
But only the nurture is what the
The
nurture of
nurture.
our society is what turns us or which sorry, it turns us sinful.
Yes. I'll take an example from the Bible here. We'll start from the beginning with Eve, right?
Mhm.
Her nature is good, right? She's been in communion with God. She is a good person, right?
Mm.
She's a beautiful, wonderful person, right? But as soon as she is in contact with the devil, the serpent, right? The
Mm.
serpent is making a nature or nurture is nurturing Eve to eat the apple with promises of this and that and so on, right? Eve's nature is still to do good. She eats the apple because she thinks it will be good for her. She thinks she's doing good in a sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But she wasn't influenced to do that beforehand. But she was nurtured by the serpent and she chose that in a sense, right?
That makes a lot of sense. I don't know that I've ever actually heard of that idea that Eve was the first case of nature and nurture because she was nurtured to do evil or
Yeah.
make
And
this terrible mistake.
and then you can keep on going with it. You can take other Bible characters,
Mm.
anything like that. We'll go to the next person. Adam, right?
Oh yeah.
Adam, Adam, his nature was to do good, but nurtured by Eve, who's nurtured by the serpent, he decided to choose her over God. Because he, in that sense, chose what would be good for him. So he's still choosing what's good, but the nurture changed him from what's good for the Lord to what's good for me, being with Eve. And
And
then,
made a similar choice.
mhm.
What's
And then
good
we
for
can
the
go.
Lord is having both me and my brother alive, but what's good for me is having his farms, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And people might wonder why, what changed there, because they were both nurtured. We think, we don't know, but we could speculate they were both nurtured the same in a sense, right? But still, his nature was to do good. But his nature could have also had some other tendencies that we don't know. So when he made that decision to do what's good, you know, his other, I'm not saying everybody has one singular nature, but I'm saying overall their nature is to do good, and then their nurture changes that. Where is that good directed?
Mm.
Then he makes the decision to do what's good for me. Kills his brother because that defeats the competition for me and God.
Yeah. Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel. David, he's my favorite Bible character. While he was herding sheep, his nature and his nurture were very much still aligned with God. He becomes a king or becomes a warrior and then a king. And through the nurture of the people around him, it influences him to kill one of his best friends, one of his generals, to be with his wife. His nature influenced, or his nurture influenced,
Influenced him to do these selfish actions.
yes,
Because they're good for him.
they're good for him. And then he realizes that, and then he repents and he's like, please, Lord. And then, the constant nurture from God and then nurture from the other people around you, you know.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me that all of this also still comes down to like your choice and your influence. Or sorry, not your influence, but the influences of everything around you, which is nurture, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And like making that choice. That's weird to me.
Do you think that there is any way, with humans being a creation of God, that any humans can be innately evil?
Ooh.
Innately evil, you know. I don't think people are born evil. I think they could be made evil
Okay.
through nurture. Even people who are, psychopaths, serial killers, I don't think they were born a killer, but through some form of twisted nurture, also colliding with their nature, through a sinful world, some things. Yeah, I think he was still born. Let's say Ted Bundy, right? As a baby, Ted Bundy
Yeah.
was a baby, right? You know what I mean?
And he was
Yeah.
still just as fine a baby as any other.
He's a baby.
He
He
was
don't pay taxes. He's
He don't.
exactly, but the nurture that was around him, and we don't know the specifics of his nurture. He became an evil person. I will not deny it. Ted Bundy is evil.
Deeply.
He's an evil, evil man, and deserved what he got. But as a baby, he was born inherently good. But through his nurture, he became an evil man.
Yeah.
Is there any way that a person can, manage their own nurture and keep themselves in check keep themselves within the grace of God by maintaining their nature despite
Um,
bad factors?
the way they do that is they get out of where they are. They have to surround themselves by a good environment. And I know that's like sounds impossible in a lot of cases, but in those situations, you have to make choices. You got to make the choices that you can make to surround yourself by good people in good environment. There are still choices to be made. You can't escape completely a bad environment. Sometimes I will admit that, but you can make choices in that bad environment to make it a little better, to surround yourself by good, nurturing things.
Yeah. I mean, because trying to even separate yourself from the world is almost impossible.
I personally wouldn't recommend it because then you forget everything. I'd say this: if you try to separate yourself completely from the world, and I mean like 100%, you lose your connection to everybody, right? And one of our missions as humans, as children of God, is to preach His good word, show Him the Lord's mercy. But you can't do that if you're disconnected from the world, because our mission is the world. And if you try to cut everything off from the world, then you're not doing the mission.
It might make you a little bit closer to God in one way, but God made you so that you can love the earth and exist with people.
Yeah, exactly. He made you to. Your mission is the world. That's what He made you for. And you can't cut yourself off from the world, because then you lose sight of the mission.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got nothing more to say. That was a lot. Yeah.
I think I have one more small question
Yeah, go for it.
about this concept, and that is, and this isn't something that, kind of a weird question. Where do you stand on death penalty?
Oh boy.
That's a question,
So
Malcolm.
what I'm asking it because if people are innately good and they're only influenced to do evil by their environment, should we simply only try to reform them, or are there some crimes that are so unforgivable?
You know what? All right. I'll break this up into some parts. First things first. Let's say someone does an incomparable, like a terrible crime, right? Let's say it's Ted. We'll go back to the Ted Bundy
Yeah.
thing, right? Ted Bundy was so far into his depravity, right? He was doing to his nature what was good for him. And through that, I don't think any amount of environment, different nurturing could have changed him, because his nature was already set. He had chosen what his nature was going to be, and his nature was going to be doing what's good for me, in a sense. So again, remember, our nature is to do good. Our nurture defines what that good is.
Mm-hmm.
And Ted Bundy had decided what his nurture was going to do. His nurture was going to find doing good by me. All right. So I think Ted Bundy was so far into that he could not change. His nature was set. So when it comes to the death penalty, I have two opinions. One is I do agree that people do deserve the death penalty. My second thing is I don't think the state should have that much power, or any form of something should have that much power to take a life like that, in a sense.
Does it depend on the situation or the person?
See, in my mind, right, Ted Bundy, deserves the death penalty. A lot of people deserve the death penalty. But the thing that's keeping me away from saying instate it is because then you're giving some form of the government the power to take a civilian's life.
So maybe it's better to just say some people deserve death and remove the concept of that government entirely and let it be on the people.
Exactly. So like let's say Ted Bundy's in prison, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm a firm believer in prison justice. Firm believer. You know, you put a predator in prison, he gets killed by the inmates, right? I'm a firm believer by that. Because what power do they hold? They don't hold the power of the state, which, government is supposed to protect the rights of its citizens, right?
Right.
If they use that power, I know it's in a sense to protect us from him, right? Let's say Ted Bundy again, but that's still giving them the power to kill one of its citizens. And you can't, when it comes to the government and stuff like that, you can't let them have an inch or they take a mile, you know? Their goal is to protect all its citizens, protected their rights and stuff like that. And though it might be looked upon like the state is protecting its citizens from Ted Bundy, they're still taking the life of one of its citizens.
Yeah.
And that judgment is not theirs to make.
That judgment is not theirs to make. Their job is to protect us, not to end the life in the name of protecting.
So in your opinion though, who does have that power? I know that there's the natural thing of inmate justice, but maybe
in the terms of who has the real power to judge an individual, from my background, the way I was raised, and what I believe, the only person that really has that power is God to make that judgment call on him going to damnation, in a sense. But also, if someone shot Ted Bundy on the street, no tears would be lost.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Because it's not the government who made that decision. Someone made the call that they would, face the law in that sense to do that.
Yeah.
So no tears would be lost if he was just killed randomly. But I can't agree that the state should enact the death penalty just because you give them an inch, they take a mile.
So you were talking about earlier that just kind of how you've grown up, or where you've grown up, and I want to ask, how has that place affected you? I mean, now you're living in Nebraska. Has that changed you? How basically just how has the place you've been affected you?
Well, I'd say probably the biggest thing that's affected, or the biggest thing that the place where I live that has affected me in a sense, is I just know I want to own land and build a house on it. Really, that's the main thing, because the people around me, that were surrounded by me or surrounded me, those are the real things that influenced me on how I think and what I believe and stuff like that, and how I think the world should work and does work. But in terms of like where I lived, the only thing that's really influenced me from where I live is I want to buy land, I want to build a house on it, and I really like rainy, overcast weather. And I think Washington weather is the best weather. in any state, and I hate the wind. Those are those are the biggest things that have been influenced by where I live.
Mm.
You don't like the wind? Well,
You don't know the wind, Shannon. You don't know the wind.
I don't know the wind.
Wait till
What
you're
about?
out here.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, wait till you're out here where it's like 30 miles an hour every day, just blowing in your face, where it cuts to your
Jeez.
bone.
No, thank you.
I was gonna say, you don't know the wind.
The wind of change. Thank you,
No.
Scorpions.
I've got one last question for you, and it's kind of an unorthodox one. We also do episodes where we interview two people at once in a couple. And one of the questions that we often ask them are, do you have any experience with the place you grew up changing the way that you romance or experience one another's love? And I'd like to ask you that. Do you and your significant other have any significant differences in the way that you have grown up that change your relationship?
Yeah, I'd say so. Me and my fiance both grew up with parents who stayed together, who are still together, right? So came from a very, good household. Both of us, both our parents
Mm-hmm.
love each other and stuff like that. However, um, I'll speak on my experience with my parents and their relationship because I can't really speak for my fiance in this, but my parents definitely had some of their problems in how they communicate and how they show affection and how they interact with each other. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely problems there. I'm not going to paint it like they were perfect. They weren't. And the relationship wasn't perfect, but they still, you know, kept the covenant of till death do us part. You know, so those problems that were seen in my parents' relationship, right? I took those to my relationship with my fiance, and they eventually were exposed, and it was very harmful for both of us. And because those problems hurt, especially when you're in such a deep relationship, and such a new relationship. Though me and my fiance, when these problems surfaced, we had only been dating for about 4 years, but in terms of relationships, that's pretty short. Like by the time we got to 4 years, marriage was definitely like being more of a serious conversation, but nothing was set in stone. No ring was bought quite yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when those problems were exposed, it was harmful. And that's when I had to realize that I can't take the problems that my parents thought. I have to be better than them when it comes to my relationship. Because then I started thinking about the way I am now is the way I'm going to be later, in a sense, and
Mhm.
I want my kids to experience a strong household with two loving parents who love each other and show them a beautiful example of what marriage should be. So I had to change and, you know, redefine how this relate or how the relationship was to me. I had to take away all of my baggage that I got from my parents' relationship and discard it. So I was completely, no baggage going into the future of this relationship. So we could like form it the way we wanted it to best exemplify what a healthy, loving relationship was.
Well, I'm glad you have got to that point and are able to have something healthy.
Not a lot
Yeah,
of people
it's
can say that they have had a super healthy marriage or
Uh-huh.
something like that.
I truly believe that the only reason me and my fiance have gotten to this point was because both our parents loved each other and showed us what a relationship could be under marriage, you know, Because all right, so me and my fiance started dating end of sophomore year of high school, right? And as we all know, teenagers don't know who they are or what they are in a sense, right?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
they don't. Teenagers think they know everything, but they know nothing, quite literally. So, going through those very formative years, dating, it's a very volatile time. That's when everything changes on a just based on your mood, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would say that really the only reason me and my fiance made it through that time was because of the good example set before us. We knew what it should look like,
Hmm.
So we tried to, in a way, play grown-ups in the sense of trying to copy what our parents were showing us, you know. So that's why I can say, like, granted, it was a lot of hard work, and we both put work in, but we only were able to put all that work in because we knew what a loving relationship looked like. And not everybody is privileged to have that. Not everybody has that opportunity, to know what that looks like. They have to figure it out the hard way, which, prayers out to them. That is very difficult. And when they figure it out, like, my hats off for you, man, for figuring that out on your own.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to do, and the more I think about marriage, the more it I don't know, kind of freaks me out a little bit because
It,
there's so much that comes with it.
there is. I've been loving this explanation of what marriage is. When you get married, you leave your family to start your own. You are no longer, in a sense, tied to your family. You're no longer dependent upon your mom and dad. You become your own independent person with your significant other. So, which is beautiful. I find that beautiful. That you leave your family to start your own family. You know, start your own blood family. But you start your own blood family, but you choose who your wife is going to be or your husband who's going to be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
you start a blood family, but your partner, your equal, the person that's with you is your choice.
That's kind of a romantic way to say it.
Yeah, it
It
really is.
is. It's so cool that your your partner, the person who you have to have that person in order to start your blood family, right?
Mm.
That person is your choice family. They are your choice and they choose you too, which is the beautiful thing. Because, as I said, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Your covenant to your significant other is stronger than the water of the womb. You know? So your choice is stronger, and you chose them and they chose you, which is the beautiful thing about marriage and
For sure.
families and starting a family.
Well, maybe talking about your significant other a little bit more, um, or sorry, a little bit less. Who do you think has built your character the most?
Ooh, okay, I wrote a lot for this one. So I'm going to scroll down and find it. All right, all right. There are three people who have built my character the most. These are the three individuals, right? One is my mom, my dad, and my fiance. These are the three people who have molded me into the person I am. We'll start with my mom. My mom helped me a lot through school. Um, Here we go. My mom helped me a lot through school. We both have struggled in school, right? So her helping me, her showing me what I need to do in order just to get by, helped me a lot because those lessons that were taught during the times that I was struggling in school was one, how to be a good student, but also what leads up to that is hard work, never giving up, you know, just it taught me how to pursue what I want, what I need to do in a sense. So she taught me so much of that, but also she taught me, at a very early age in life, like love. My mom is a very loving person. So she taught me those initial things of like love. Like what is love, how to love. Or not really like, love between family members and stuff like that. Not significant other love or loving your children. Those are two different things. But like, love amongst others. She taught me that. And then my dad, now me and my dad have a lot of differences, and I think it's a universal experience as boys grow up to be teenagers, to grow up to be men, they will always find contention with their father in one way or another. That's just kind of how the story goes. And I don't think it can be a bad story, but I don't think it's a bad thing that boys grow up to be men and have contentions with their father. It really just depends on how you outlet that, contention, because they can be constructive things if there is a good environment around you to do that, where you have different ideas. And eventually you guys will reach the level of equals in the sense that you both are men and both are independent, so there's that. But, contention can be a good or a bad thing in this stage. But I think it's like a universal story where men or boys become men and have contention with their father. But even though that's the case with me and my dad, sometimes my dad taught me how to be a man, and more like the traditional way of being a man. I don't agree with all that he says about what being a man is, but like working hard, providing for your family, giving up yourself for others, being a caring, yeah. Is it paternal or maternal? Paternal.
Paternal.
Being a caring paternal figure. My dad really taught me how to be a man, in a sense, like a true man, a good man. He laid that foundation for me, which I am forever grateful, because you need that as a boy becoming a man. You need the foundation laid, or you're going to turn out to be something that's not a man. You're still going to be a boy in your 30s.
You need that good nurture from somebody strong, emotionally and mentally.
Yes, which also which is why even though, like I said, my mom and dad's relationship wasn't always the healthiest at times, it still was better than having one of my parents gone or them being apart, because then the household is split. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so much better because both my parents are together. That is false, but I'm saying, like, when it comes to the nurture, especially at those formative years, it is very important for both your parents to be. Is very important. If you get that opportunity where both of your parents are together in a loving relationship, it does so much for the nurture. It does so much good for the nurture. And I'm trying to say this in a way that makes it so it doesn't sound like I'm better just because both my parents were together, because that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say, like, the nurture it does wonders when both parents are together in a household that love each other.
Yeah.
And then the third person who has influenced me and made me the person I am today is my fiance. She's the one that has taught me how to love. And this time I'm talking about the significant other kind of love, how to properly love someone. to give up of yourself for someone. That's the kind of love she taught me and helped me grow into. And then she also, so my dad laid me the foundation of being a man, but she has been patient with me as I've grown into a man and has helped guided me and shown me this is what my man needs to do. You know what I mean? So she has helped, given me pointers and helped me grow into a man with love, caring, and patience. That's what um that's what she has contributed to me. And she did this all during high school and into college where we've been long distance. It has been a very volatile part of our lives, but she has still been loving and caring and patient with me as I've grown into a man.
Yeah. That's very sweet.
Well, I think that's probably about the time to wrap up then.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on, Ben. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Shannon.
It was a lot of fun learning about your perspective of things, and it's there's been a lot of things that I don't think we've heard before.
That's good. I hope they make the cut.
Oh, it'll make the cut.
It'll make the cut.
That's for sure.
Okay, good.
Thank you to Nadia Diaz for our podcast cover art. She is an amazing artist and person. Go check her out at her Instagram at Arthead Creations. No spaces, no capitals. The link will be down in the description. Go get art from her. Go ask her to do art for you.
She's a wonderful artist. Her art is spectacular.
Thank you, Ben. Yes. Listen to Ben, everybody.
Go check her out.
And also thank you to Jensen Kral, who made our intro and outro for the podcast. He's working on his musical Tea Time. I need to text him about that. I know he's still working on it. I don't know if it's like what percentage of it is done, but he's released a demo. I think it's been on here for almost a year now.
Right.
It's called Knocking on Doors for his musical, and you can check that out just about anywhere. Ben actually was in band with Jensen, and he knows firsthand how good of a musician Jensen is.
Yes, Jensen, talented person with music in all aspects. And
didn't he play trumpet with you?
I think he was more of a French horn.
That's it. Never mind.
Yes, but Jensen, talented guy, funny guy, good guy. He's amazing. So definitely check out Jensen and support him.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
I think that's it. Thank you everybody for listening. Oh, wait. Send us questions to our email. Waiting 4 seconds. It'll be waiting the number 4 seconds at gmail.com.
We want them.
We want them so we can ask people like Ben
see
and others these questions, or maybe we can answer ourselves. Who knows?
Yeah, why not both?
So, all right. We will see you guys next time
On the
shed.